This video is brought to you by Patreon supporter Alex.
Hello and welcome. You find yourself checking out this. No, it's not the pack, even though this pack is really nice. I want to ask Alex what make this is, because I quite like it. It looks like it could be useful for a lot of stuff that I have. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Not the pack, but what's inside the pack. Patreon provider Alex unfortunately does not have the box to go along with this HOLOSUN 3x Magnifier. Now, you'll note that this block over here, if you had already watched the HOLOSUN 503 unboxing that I did, was inside the box. What that is a spacer for under here to raise this higher or lower, depending on what sort of optic you are running and or how you prefer it. But here it is. The model on this is HM3x, blah, 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 blah. Their standard 3x magnifier. I've been wanting to get my hands on more HOLOSUN stuff because not only do you guys like it, but I also really like HOLOSUN. So much so that when Patreon provider Scott had sent in his 512 and his 510 for review, I sort of didn't let him get this back. Yep, I bought this off of him because I liked it that much. By comparison to, like, let's say a UH1, I prefer this a lot more. Anyway, getting ahead of myself. HOLOSUN 3x Magnifier. I would assume that the box that this comes in is very standard of HOLOSUN, with a nice sleeve and the big nice plastic around it, and really well fitted, tight fitted foam, but we'll just have to use our imaginations. It does, however, come with a nice bikini cover, which I have said numerous times I really like. And that's basically it. There's not much to really talk about magnifiers. I'll start at the base, though, because that is one important part of any sort of system, is how you're going to mount it to your firearm. This one looks like it has the exact same quick release mechanism from the 510 that I had reviewed from Scott, which I said in that review I kind of like. It is adjustable if you so need to tension it, depending on what Picatinny rail you're using. Allen key header right there. What you do is you unlock it, flip this out of the way, make your adjustment, cinch it down, and lock it in place. Another nice feature about this is it has two hard stops here that interlock inside your Picatinny rail, which I can show you with a little piece that I have here. Once it's on there, it ain't going anywhere. You lock that in place and you're good to go. Standard flip to the right, or you can rotate this around and have it flip to the left depending on your preference. It makes no real difference to me currently, but I'm sure if I was running this on a particular system that I would definitely try it in both ways just to see which way I prefer. So that is the flip mechanism out of the way. This does feel pretty decent, the action on this. When it is out of the way, it does have some wiggle room. I think the action on the Vortex Micro 3X that I had reviewed from Scott was a little bit nicer. Certainly the fit and finish felt and looked better, but this is also $200. That Micro 3X that I had reviewed from Scott was, I believe, $300. So there's a bit of a difference there. I mean, this is 50% less expensive than that Micro 3X. So you can't expect it to be as good in every regard. Moving away from the mount, we're going to look at the quick adjust eyepiece in the rear. And that is the tension I want to feel when I adjust a quick adjust eyepiece. Do you know why? Because this thing is never, ever going to adjust itself by throwing it in your bag or taking it out or running it across the table, because this thing is tight. You can see there from my thumbnail, not a picture, but the cuticle under my thumb, how much pressure I have to put on this to have it turn. Action feels very smooth. It just feels like there's someone grabbing onto it and preventing it from moving, which is something I like to see. The only other thing to really look at this that's adjustable are the windage and elevation adjustments on this. Now, this doesn't move a reticle. It just moves the glass inside to make the reticle on the red dot that you have perfectly zeroed already centered in this. So not as important, but still something that you do have to adjust to make sure everything is right. I'm using a cap from the 503, which should fit in here like a glove. Very smooth action on this. Good detents. Very audible clicks, as you can hear. A lot less resistance on this than it is on the 503. This is probably as good as you could get as far as it being damped properly. The 503 just feels like you're breaking something, whereas this moves in a nice fluid motion with good solid positive clicks. Alrighty, let's take a look through it. My only real complaint that I had with the Vortex Micro 3x was how close you had to get your eye to it to really look through it properly. This seems to be a little bit more forgiving, but it still offers, from what I can tell right now, a really good field of view, and you don't see a whole lot of the body, which is another pet peeve of mine. So take a look at the edges on this. Center is nice and sharp, and it seems so far edge to edge is also very, very good. Flipping over to the side, you get a really good sense of the proper coloring. And then when we flip it back down, it has a very good color representation. It doesn't seem to get much darker, if at all. And I'd say this is a pretty good performance so far. So far, it seems to be pretty damn good. And I'm very curious to see how this is going to perform with a myriad of different red dots that I have, to see how well it will function at different heights, because some of them are a little bit taller than others, and just generally see how well you can see through it. Because that's one thing, again, my only real comparison from this is the Micro 3x from Vortex, but no matter what optic I put that behind, it always gave you a full field of view through the magnifier, despite the size of the body on the red dot or its offset height. So this has a pretty good fight up ahead. Anyway, that's going to conclude this unboxing for right now. Alex, thank you so much for sending this in for review. I cannot wait to run this through its paces soon and see exactly how well it works. As always, thank you very much for watching. See you again next time.
And a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you, this wouldn't be possible.